Yo, what's up? Welcome to the opening line. Corey and Benny coming at you on a Thursday. Uber Eats, late night Uber Eats leftovers. What's good with you, Benny? How was your late nights?
Oh man, honestly, Corey, when I run good, I run good, and when I run bad, I run bad. And yesterday was a very, very bad day in the Ricciardi household. Let me tell you. First off, I was all over the Houston Astros yesterday, and they lost 10-4, so that wasn't good. That killed a lot of the DFS lineups. I started their pitcher. I had a bunch of their bats in my lineup. I had a bunch of bets on them, so that started the bad day. But like I said, when I run bad, I run real bad because not only that, but my kid had a little bit of a fit yesterday and threw a book that happened to bounce off of my big screen television and put a nice big spider web crack in the bottom of it. So not only did I have a bad day gambling, but now I'm out, now I'm out a couple $1,000s. Well, I shouldn't say a couple $1,000s, about $1,500 for a new television that I'm going to have to buy because I'm going to need it before football season. So yesterday was a very, very bad day.
What happened, son? Why was he so upset? Y'all made him mad and he threw the book?
That's, when you tell them to go to bed and they don't want to go to bed and
oh yeah, shit like that can happen. Yeah.
So anyway, I actually
tweeted. He went to bed after that, though.
He definitely went to bed after. Honestly, even this morning he woke up and I was sitting out here already, and he was like, "Yeah," he was doing like the little peek, like, "Should I even come out there right now?" Or, it was not a good night. Let me just say that.
Damn, son. Yeah, he had a rough night too. You know what I'm saying? This morning, he like, I don't know if Daddy still love me no more.
I'm gonna let him stew in it for a little bit. I mean,
I'm gonna have to go live with Grandma.
Actually, he'd probably like that, man. My parents let them do whatever they want, so he'd probably be like, "Hey,
all right,
peace out, dude."
Oh man. Yeah, you're right though. So that's the TV in the crib. That's not the TV down there.
The big one in the middle of the living room. Yeah, the main TV.
The most important TV in the family.
I mean, we still got there's one in the bedroom, and I still got the little one next to it. I had the two there. Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't want to be watching games on a little TV while I look at a broken big TV next to it. Like that, it's just gonna set me off like every day until I get.
You going to just new TV? You're not even going to try to repair it?
From what I hear, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to at least look into it. But from what I hear, it costs about as much to repair it as it does to get a new one. So, like, if it's going to cost me $1,000 to fix this one to get the whole screen, because it's not the screen that's broken. The screen is fine, but, like, behind it, whatever it is where, like, the spider web and the lines are coming from.
Yeah.
So they got to, like, go inside that thing and do all that. So somebody told me it's going to cost close to $1,000 to fix it. At that point, I might as well just spend an extra couple hundred and just get a new one. So either way, we need to win some money, Corey. So let's talk some fantasy. Let's talk some sports. I need something to take my mind off the fact that my fucking television is broken.
No doubt. So let's get ready to get it started. Got the Hall of Fame game tonight. That might give you an opportunity. Like I said, let me look at the listen, there's nothing really you can get from – you can't really break down and handicap. One thing I will say is the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken, do not take the preseason seriously. And I believe the Patriots are playing tonight, right?
To be honest with you, I don't even know. I didn't even look into it. At this point, I'm not in preseason football mode to do that. You know what I mean? I'm looking at draft stuff. I'm looking at, my stuff for the regular season. I haven't even bothered to dig into – who's got a solid veteran backup quarterback that's going to play 2 quarters in the preseason or something that I could bet on for fantasy, because that's really what it comes down to in the preseason.
All right, so here we go. You have a couple of spreads out there. You even got a parlay out there too. This is what we got. And like I said, you can't really handicap this, but I'm just starting here. The Falcons and the Broncos, not the Patriots. I don't know why I said the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta they're giving away, look, the juice is just about, this is different for football. It must be different for football this year. So the Falcons are plus 2.5, right, at minus 105. So just about even money for that.
Okay.
Falcons money line is plus 126. The total is 34.5. The juice on the total is also minus 105. The juice on the Broncos -2.5 is 115. The Broncos money line is 144, and the over is 34.5. I told you these games normally come in around 33, 30, 32, 33.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say the under is something I was looking at, but 34 is pretty low.
That's low as shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good total. I mean, obviously, it's a good total for the books. Like that's a number where I'm gonna stop and be like, I don't know if I want to take it under on 34. I don't know. Like I said, man, I mean, the hardest part with breaking down the preseason for me is we could sit here and talk about every team in the NFL, and we know all the relevant players, right? Like, we're going to name all the guys that we would use for fantasy, all the starters. But none of those guys are playing. So, I mean, you say, oh, it's Atlanta versus Denver tonight. But really, it's like, you know, the quarterback from, you know, Murray State and the 3 linemen from the Big 12 that they drafted 2 years ago. And you know what I mean? It's not all the guys that you think of. So when you try to break this game down, you're really going to have to start digging into rosters and seeing who the backup quarterbacks and stuff like that are.
I think it's more about coaching, Benny. I don't even think it's rosters. I think it's more about coaching. What I think is, I think you have certain coaches that take it serious and coaches that don't. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where you can find an advantage at, as far as it comes to betting it. As far as DFS goes, I don't see where you can find. Drew Lock could probably play a good amount tonight. But yeah, other than that, as far as DFS, I don't see where you can really get an advantage. Unless you're really, really into it and putting that grind work in. But for betting purposes, if you can find a trend on the coaches, Benny, I think that would be the smartest right there.
So one of the things I like to do in the preseason, there's basically 2 kinds of backup quarterbacks in the league, right? There's the young guy that you're bringing along and you're trying to groom, and then there's the veteran that's been around forever. The veteran that's been around forever that doesn't take as many snaps during the regular season and during, like, you know, first team scrimmages and practice and stuff like that in the preseason, that guy tends to get a lot of snaps in the preseason games, though, because really he's the backup and, you know, they want to get him some reps, but they don't want to give him the reps at the expense of the starter. Those are the teams I usually like. Like, when you have a guy who's been around the league for a little while and you know he's going to go out there and play 2 quarters in the preseason or so, those are the teams that I usually want over the teams that have the rookie who's literally making his first start in the NFL. Some of those guys are going to make their first start and look great. Some of them are going to make their first start and look horrible. But you know that the veteran guy is going to go out there and not make mistakes and not do stupid stuff because he's been around the league. He knows what it is and what it's going to take and stuff like that. So there aren't many of those situations because a lot of times teams already know who the backup's going to be. And if they have one of those veteran guys, they already know what that guy is. But when you see that one of those guys is scheduled to play 2 or 3 quarters, those are usually the games I want to bet on. And for DFS, those are the kind of guys that I want to use.
No doubt. So I agree with you on that. And that's the way I would also look at it. Got a situation coming up right now, Benny. Let me tell you where I'm at. I'm on the clock. Well, I tell you, some of these slow drafts, my Lord. You know what I'm saying?
I can't do them. That's why I like waiting to the beginning of August because normally in July, everything's a slow draft. But once August rolls around, you can sit down and you can bang out a draft with, like, you know, a minute or 2 between picks and bang it out in like an hour or 2. And to me, that's the better way to do it. I want to sit down, completely focus on it, tune everything else out for an hour or 2, and, you know, go ahead and go to work.
I'll read you the team right here. And this is going down right now. And I'm on the clock. I'm 2 picks away.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Thomas, Steph Diggs, Golden Tate. Dalvin Cook, Phil Lindsay, Jordan Howard, Evan Ingram, and Eric Ebron. Now, it's 2 tight ends.
Okay.
One of them is probably going to end up going in the flex spot, obviously, if I was doing this. This is the best ball. And I think and the reason why I mentioned it, because I talked about it yesterday, Benny, there's no advantage at any position because all of these dudes, when you get to round 7, 8, 9, hell, round 4, 5, all these dudes are the same.
Yep. No, there's – and again, I say this to people all the time. Like, you don't win or lose fantasy drafts in the first 3 rounds. Well, I shouldn't say that. You don't win fantasy drafts in the first 3 rounds.
You can lose one.
Yeah, you could definitely lose one by doing some dumb stuff. But where people are really going to differentiate themselves this year is who are the guys you like in rounds 4 through 9. When you get into that second tier of wide receivers, when you get into that arguably probably third tier of running backs, which is around that 4, 5, 6 range, if you hit on those guys right there, that's going to be the difference between your team going nuts or your team not going nuts. Because really the difference between like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Zeke on a weekly basis, yeah, some of those guys are going to have a big week. Some of them are not going to have a big week. But for the most part, all those guys are going to end up having big years. So if you have any of them on your team, you're going to be fine. But the difference is going to be who's your running back 2, who's your wide receiver 2 and 3. Like, where did you go and when did you get your tight end? So that's the rounds that you're really going to have to make your hay this year and really kind of dig in and take your guys and be right if you want to have a big fantasy season.
No doubt. Also, something's got to come real good off the waiver wire. So how come this team don't look like the team? Wait a minute. I'm starting to get teams mixed up already. It's the only damn, you know what I'm saying?
That's the problem when you're doing all those slow drafts. You forget which one you took what guys in and what you need.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So this must be the Raz Bowl. I'm on deck in the Raz Bowl. So there you go right there. I'm on the deck in round 9. All right, so there we go. We can go ahead and discuss this and break this down. I told you dual tight ends. I'm the running backs are Cook and Lindsey, Howard. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, ugh. When I made the – let me go back here and find it. When I made the this is the wrong damn draft board. Benny's a million slow drafts going on right now.
Why not do them, man? You start getting confused. You miss a pick here or there. You get stuck with a Melvin Gordon, and you're like, what the hell?
Look at somebody's talking trash. Seeing that we are somebody. Oh, that's us, Greg Ambrosius. Yes, son. I'm doing the best I can. And do not blame me. I did not the reason why we lost pace in this draft. All right. When I took Howard, Benny, it was like Kenyon Drake, Tevin Coleman. I got a ton of Tevin Coleman already.
Right.
Lamar Miller, Rashad Penny. I got a good amount of Rashad Penny. Austin Eckler, Royce Freeman. Now, Royce Freeman, this is a team with Phil Lindsay. So, I didn't leave Roy. I thought I'd be able to catch Royce Freeman on the rebound, and I almost did. You know what I'm saying? I don't ever like the Howard pick, and he's standing alone because the guys I wanted to pick on the turn after coming back to set it up were Freeman, Sanders, and Henderson, and all 3 of them went right before me. You know what I'm saying? So I made the pick, and I took Ebron. I'm not a Jordan Howard guy. Should I be like right now? If I had to send this team out there, he would be like, he would be on the bench because I would start the 2 tight ends. So yeah, he wouldn't be a starter, but he would bye weeks and stuff like that. Do you want any parts of Jordan Howard?
I don't have any Jordan Howard right now, to be honest with you. I don't think I have a single share of Jordan Howard in any of my drafts. Austin Eckler still available? You said
he was. I should have went there, right?
That's the guy that I've been going with in the round 8 or so. I mean, again, the longer this Melvin Gordon thing goes on, the higher up I think he's going to move. And like I said, I think he's the guy. I know everyone's talking up Justin Jackson, but I watched what happened last year. I looked at what they did last year when Melvin Gordon was out, and Eckler was the guy that was on the field and getting more of the touches. So he would have been the guy I went with there. Here's my thing, because I know you're big on Miles Sanders, right? Like I'm not as big on him. My biggest fear with Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders is that the 2 of them end up in kind of like a timeshare, right? Like neither one of them really takes the reins, because I believe Sanders has a bright future, but I don't know if they're ready to give him that shot right now. And to me, Jordan Howard is more of, put it this way, I don't like Derrick Henry all that much, and to me, Jordan Howard is a low-budget Derrick Henry. Yeah,
and I'm not a Derrick Henry guy either. Speaking of Derrick Henry, yesterday down there in Titans camp, he was walking around signing autographs. He did not have on a walking boot. So there goes that right there. I told you what the team is, Benny. I'm coming up on the clock in 1 pick. This is the top of the queue. Jerick McKinnon, Doug Baldwin, Jesus Christ, Demaryius Thomas, Deshaun Hamilton, LaShawn McCoy, Kareem Hunt, Adrian Peterson, Chris Thompson, Matt Breida, Naheem Hines.
It's not great.
Not great, Benny. No, it's not.
It's really not. That's not a good list.
You got a hurt dude. You got a retired dude. You got a dude that's going to get cut. You got a dude in Hamilton who hasn't done anything. You got McCoy who could get traded, who could get cut, who could just ride the bench. You got Kareem Hunt who's off for 10 weeks. You got Adrian Peterson who's 78 years old. What's going on, Benny?
What round is this? 9, 10, you said?
So this is the 9-10 turn.
All right, so 9-10 turn, and how many teams are in this? 15 or 12?
12.
All right, so you're looking at
This team does not have a quarterback.
You're looking at like pick 108. That's fine because if you look at we talked about this yesterday. Go look at the quarterbacks available right now. I'm assuming it's probably like Wentz on down, right? Or Cam on down, something like that.
Honestly, it's a little bit better than that. There is no Wentz is gone, but
okay.
Brees is there, Big Ben is there, Russell Wilson is there, Tom Brady's there, Jared Goff, Phil Rivers. Oh no, Wentz is there. Wentz is there. Garoppolo, Cam Newton is there. Quarterback is plentiful right now. Should I go 2 quarterbacks on this turn?
I wouldn't go 2 Is it a super flex league? Can you play 2?
No.
If you can't play 2, there's no reason to take 2 early. And to be honest with you, with the list that you just gave me, there's still a lot of guys left there where I don't think you even need to go that route. I'd be more looking to boost up like the running back or the wide receiver ranks for me.
Yeah.
So is there any actual like starting running backs or guys that you expect to be guys that get a lot of touches that are left?
If I was, Peyton was the starting running back, right?
We talked about my feelings on Peyton Barber yesterday. I mean, listen, like right now, if you're gonna take Peyton Barber, like I said, I'd rather take Carlos Hyde because he has more of potential upside if he plays. You know what I mean? Because you already have Jordan Howard. Like Jordan Howard, I need to put a running back in there, bye-week replacement kind of guy. Like, hopefully he can get me a touchdown and 12 to 15 fantasy points. You know what I'm saying? But he's not a home run hitter. He's not going to be the guy that wins you your league if one of those guys gets hurt. I'd rather take a chance on somebody like that. Or, is there any wide receivers that are going to be like starting wide receivers that are solid that have some upside left?
What's interesting about the running backs is you say, and I agree with you with Hyde, but I can wait another 3-4 rounds before I take Hyde. You know what I'm saying? So then it becomes, well, who do you take now? Well, obviously I can't take Doug Baldwin, Demaryius Thomas. I have some Deshaun Hamilton already. I'm not going back to that route. Adam Humphries, who I don't own one single share of. In Tennessee with Mariota, Corey Davis, that offense. They went out and paid him, probably overpaid for him, Benny.
Definitely overpaid for him.
What do you think of Hump?
I mean, I don't mind him as a guy that I'm taking later on in drafts for depth. Like if he's my wide receiver, like 5, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? But like, I don't expect him to have many big games this year at all. Like he's not a big touchdown scorer. It's a PPR you're playing in?
Yeah.
All right, so that at least makes him viable because PPR, he's a guy that's going to get a lot of those little passes like 3rd and 3, or like, 3rd and 7. Like those are the plays that he's going to make. He's going to get a lot of those passes over the middle. He could be like a low budget Jarvis Landry kind of guy where he gets 4 or 6 targets and comes up with, 3 to 5 catches but only does it for like 45 yards. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I look at Adam Humphries this year.
I can agree. Well, Michael Gallup is interesting.
I think Gallup has more upside than Humphrey does.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Kenny Stills.
Kenny Stills has a lot of upside, but you're only going to see it once every 3 or 4. Once a month, Kenny Stills will have a 20-point game.
No doubt.
And the other times he'll have like 4 targets with 1 catch for 17 yards.
Marquise Goodwin, who we talked about earlier this week.
Hit or miss with that one.
Michael Crabtree.
To be honest, I haven't even considered Crabtree this season.
Taylor Gabriel, John Brown, Mohamed Sanu, Tyrell Williams. And now I'm going down the list.
Yeah, I mean, like John Brown, Mohamed Sanu aren't bad, but you can get them 2 rounds later.
Devin Funchess is here.
You want Devin Funchess? Be my guest. Devin Funchess, I think you can get 3 rounds later too.
MVS. Valdez Scantling.
Viable. He's definitely viable. Wait. So Geronimo Allison's gone already?
Yeah, Geronimo Allison's moving up, bro. Geronimo Allison, you're not going to get Geronimo Allison in that area no more. Geronimo Allison went a couple picks ago. He went in the 9th.
Around pick 90?
He went at would be pick 98.
All right, yeah, I was gonna say I got him like 96 was where I got him the other day. So that's around where he's going now, the 9th round. I think he's a very good 9th round pick if you can get Geronimo Allison there.
Out of all these receivers drafted in the 9th round, Sterling Shepard, Cortland Sutton, Deshaun Jackson, your man Kiki, Geronimo Allison, Anthony Miller, and then you probably throw Michael Gallup on there. Which one of those picks you like the best, Allison or Kuti?
Allison and Kiki are the two. Like I said, right around pick 90, you're able to get Corey Davis, Geronimo Allison, and Kiki Kuti, and I have a lot of all three of those guys. Basically, Corey Davis has been like my 8th round pick, and then one of those two has been my 9th round pick in like all of these drafts, depending on if I'm early in the round and I have the choice or if I'm late. I prefer Allison to Kiki Kuti, but I really do like them both.
Yeah.
So I have no problem taking either one of them if I can get a chance to.
Yeah, so I'm moving through.
Where did Corey Davis go?
Son of a gun, Corey Davis. Corey Davis went in the 6th.
Wow, that's even higher than I draft him. See, I'm not the only one high on him this year. I usually take him around like the 7th or 8th round, right around there. So he's going in the 6th. Other people are starting to realize it too.
Oh, the magic of Corey Davis. He went he went 1 pick after Alshon Jeffrey, 1 pick after Will Fuller. Jeffrey's a player that we don't talk about a lot. I think he was more of a Nick Foles guy when Foles was running the offense, where Wentz is more Aguilar. Wentz is more Aguilar and the tight end, if I'm not mistaken. What do you think of Alshon Jeffrey this year?
Well, I think you're right. I think Foles was a guy who liked to throw outside the hashes a little more, whereas Wentz is a guy who likes to kind of keep things in the middle of the field. So that, Aguilar in the slot and Zach Ertz as well. My problem with Alshon Jeffrey is volume. That's my problem with him. Like, I love him as a receiver. I think he's very talented. I liked him even when he was on the Bears. In that Philly offense, though, he's not going to get a lot of targets. Like, he's going to be maybe like a 6-target-a-game guy at most. So he ends the season with like 100 targets. If you're only getting 100 targets, I mean, even with a solid catch rate, what can you expect out of him? Maybe 70 catches. So you're talking 4 catches a game. He's probably not going to get 1,000 yards. So 4 catches for 50 or 60 yards a game is 9 or 10 fantasy points. It's, if that's what he's going to give me, that's nothing special. You know what I mean?
And then, like you said, I'd rather go with the upside of a player like a Will Fuller. See, Corey Davis, I don't know what Corey Davis is either. We disagree on that one right there. You don't like Corey Davis more than you like dude like Calvin Ridley, right?
No, I actually take Calvin Ridley. They're around the same ADP, I think.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, like him, and that's the same level that Robbie Anderson's at, right?
Robbie's in that mix. Yeah, no, that's Allen Robinson, Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, and Allen Robinson, right. So those are all the guys that are kind of bunched up there. I actually take Ridley above Allen Robinson and Robbie Anderson. So I would have him above Corey Davis too.
I was reading about Allen Robinson yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's on Allen Robinson this year.
I like him more than Robbie Anderson and Corey Davis. I have a couple shares of him right there. Again, the problem with him is the Bears offense. The way the Bears ran their offense last year, it was very democratic. Everybody got some touches. But we kind of like, when one guy gets all the touches for fantasy. So that's my problem with Allen Robinson is, the same problem that I have with Trey Burton. I love Trey Burton's talent, but they're both guys that get like 6 targets a game. I want the guy that has the chance to get 10 or 12 targets a game. I don't want the guy that's going to be capped at 6 targets a game. And to me, that's where both of those guys are.
Now, here's the thing, right? When you look at his season last year, I feel like he started to get healthy down the stretch. we see he had a 5 for 179 on 9 targets.
Mm-hmm.
He had a 5 for 42 on 8 targets. He had a 3 for 54 on 7 targets. He had a 6 for 85 on 8 targets. He had a 10 for 143 on 13 targets in the playoff game. Other than that, like before Thanksgiving, his catches were low and his targets weren't consistent either.
Yep.
I'm thinking he got healthier as the season went on. At least I'm trying to put it like this. The board is so trash. Am I trying to talk myself into that?
Well, is Allen Robinson on the board right now still?
Not on the board right now, but even when he's up, it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Well, again, I mean, you look at the –
Are you comfortable with Allen Robinson as a wide receiver 3 or as a flex?
Yeah, he's a wide receiver 3 for me.
Okay, you see, for me, I would want him more as a flex.
Again, I mean, you know, if my wide receiver group is that good that he's my flex, I'll be happy with that. But I wouldn't mind him as my 3rd wide receiver there.
Okay.
The problem is, you know, and here's again, when I'm talking fantasy, one thing I always look for is the upside, right? So for me, I feel like you're getting more upside from a guy like Calvin Ridley, or more upside even maybe actually have him ahead of Robbie Anderson. It sounds like I'm down on Robbie Anderson this year, and I'm one of the biggest Robbie Anderson fans.
Yeah.
I just can't. Again, when I was getting him in the double-digit rounds the last couple years, I loved it. I just can't get myself to spend like a 6th, 7th round pick on Robbie Anderson, which is kind of where he's going now.
Yeah, no, I'm a Quincy Enunwa guy.
I don't mind Quincy Enunwa either, but again, you know, to me, Robbie's the better upside play because he has the long touchdown ability. So those are the guys that can put up the big score for you in fantasy. Like I don't want to take slot receivers and guys that are going to be getting like, you know, 5 or 6 targets and expect them to have any upside. You really need the ability to like stretch the field or score touchdowns, whether it's like you could be – I like the big slot guys, right? Like a Larry Fitzgerald I'd take a chance on, like a Geronimo Allison this year. You know, I'll take a chance on the big slot guys because they got a good chance to score touchdowns when they get down close to the end zone. The little slot guys like an Adam Humphries, a Cole Beasley, it's real tough to get upside from those guys in fantasy unless you're expecting them to get 10 or 12 targets, and I don't expect those guys to get that kind of targets.
No doubt. FantasyGuru.com, draft guide on sale right now. You can hop in there and get all this analysis. Got the podcast going on. Did another one yesterday. We were looking at some injury situations yesterday. As a matter of fact, to talk about Allen Robinson bouncing back this season was something that came up. I mean, I think we've talked about this before, but I think I may have asked you this, and you gave me your opinion already. But just in case, Christian McCaffrey, you're not worried that Cam Newton not being able to throw the ball last year was why he got all those targets, and that this year a healthy Cam can drive the ball downfield more and take away from those targets that McCaffrey.
I mean, listen, here's the deal. Like, McCaffrey's still going to get a ton of touches.
Yeah.
And when I look at running backs, that's all I really care about is, like, how many touches are you going to wind up getting in your offense? Because touches are the only thing you can really predict. And it's kind of been shown that the running backs who do better tend to be the ones who get more touches. So, really, when I look at running backs, that's all I'm caring about. If he is throwing the ball downfield with success, that only means that they're going to be getting a lead, which is going to mean that they're going to be running the clock out more, which is just going to give touches. It might just change some of the touches for McCaffrey from passing game to running game touches, but he's still going to get the ball. So I'm not really worried about it all that much. Right now, I think people are kind of overanalyzing some of the top guys in the draft. You know, between Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey and, the Giants' offense isn't going to be good. Well, the Giants' offense wasn't good last year, and Saquon Barkley put up huge numbers. You know, like, oh, man, well, you know, if Cam's arm is better, maybe Christian McCaffrey won't get as many passes. All right, but the guy was still getting, 20 touches a game. So if he's still going to get 20 touches a game, he's still going to put up numbers one way or another. To me, I think the guys you really have to, like, kind of be a little bit more fine-tooth comb with are the ones that you're taking in the later rounds. When you're talking about the studs, like, if you have a stud on your offense, you're going to find ways to get him the ball. And I think that Carolina is going to be fine figuring out ways to get a guy like Christian McCaffrey who can get it running or passing. He's a dynamic player. They're going to find ways to get the ball in his hands. He's going to get his 20 touches one way or another, and his production is going to be fine. So I wouldn't worry about a guy like that at all.
No doubt. Don't forget FantasyGuru.com draft guide for 2019 on sale now. Benny, I woke up this morning and the Houston Astros are the favorites to win the World Series. Why is that?
Well, I mean, getting Zach Greinke and adding it to a lineup that is pretty much stacked from top to bottom already is going to help them. I woke up 2 days ago, though, Corey, and they were the favorite in their game by a small margin yesterday, and I put a lot of money on it, and they lost. So just because they're the favorite doesn't mean it's an automatic lock here. But I will say this, man, as a Yankees fan.
Way about that bet last night, huh?
Yeah, it's as a Yankees fan, the fact that the Yankees didn't do anything and that the Astros went out and got Greinke is troublesome to me because I thought the two teams were pretty even, with the Astros having the edge in pitching and arguably the edge with the better lineup as well. And now not only do they have an edge in pitching, but now the edge in pitching got bigger for them. So I don't know. When you get into a short series and you have to go Verlander, Garrett Cole, Zach Greinke twice to beat them in a 7-game series, you got to beat all those guys. It's not going to be easy for any team.
It's fucking savages in that box, Benny. Don't forget that.
That's right. There are fucking savages in that box, baby.
Astros at plus 250 after the trade deadline to win the World Series. The Los Angeles Dodgers at plus 290. Our New York Yankees at plus 500. The next National League team is the Atlanta Braves at plus 1,000. So there you go, getting decent odds on all the teams that are still, some of the front runners in Major League Baseball. What do we got for the night in baseball, Benny?
I was honestly looking at it. There's not a lot of stuff that I'm really interested in betting on here today. There's a split slate. There's 4 games in the afternoon, 6 games at night. So the pitching matchups and the stuff that I had highlighted when I was looking through for DFS purposes, like I said, it gets tougher with the betting when you start getting into August and September because you don't get good odds anymore. Yeah. And all the guys that I liked are like minus 190 today. I mean, you got Wheeler going up today. He's minus 190. Kershaw's minus 190. Garrett Cole's like minus 200. There was another early game that I was looking at too with a good pitching matchup I liked. That was like minus 180 or minus 190. So, I mean, if you want to take like 2 of those teams and put them together, if you parlay them, you'll get close to even money on it. But I'm really not in love with anything today. I was looking at the slate earlier.
I don't like the parlay favorites because one of them is going to lose.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I said. That's the only way. Like, I don't want to take minus 190 on these teams because you're really not making any money back on it. You're not even getting paid off for taking your risk. The only way to get it even close to even money where you bet 100, you win 100 is take 2 of them. And like you said, one of them always loses when you do that. So I don't know. I'm probably just going to stay away from it tonight. Like I said, I'm still in mourning over my television, so I might have to start figuring out how we're going to put some money away. Hopefully Mad Lab has a good weekend in MMA again, and we could start the new television fund.
No doubt. The Giants and the Phillies today at 105. The total is 10. Anything that we can look for as far as home runs in that game?
Well, Derek Rodriguez absolutely sucks, especially the left-handed batters. So, like Bryce Harper sticks out, but I haven't liked the way he's looked at the plate lately. And the Phillies don't really have a lot of other lefties. Like they called up the rookie kid. I think his name's Adam Halsey. He's actually a pretty good hitter, but if a guy's hitting 7th in the lineup, I mean, maybe he faces the starter twice. He probably doesn't get that 3rd at bat against them.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to take that chance on him. And then on the other side, you got Jake Arrieta, who has been giving up more home runs this year. I will say that, but throughout his career, Arrieta's been known as a ground ball guy who keeps the ball in the park and kind of keeps everything down. So, like, if you're looking for a home run prop, it's not really the spot to look for it. If you're looking for a strikeout prop, Arrieta's not a big strikeout guy, so not really the game to look for it. There just isn't much there when you start looking at that game.
Yeah, no doubt. I can agree with you on that. That kid Halsley to hit a home run is 430. Bryce Harper is plus 240. Jake Arrieta over 4.5 strikeouts. You get that at even money. So none of it right there really hits. None of that stuff ring a bell. What you got, Benny? Big piece of chicken.
So big piece of chicken tonight is going to go out to the good people at GoFundMe for being the way I'm going to try to pay for this new television I have to get by the end of the month.
I'm going to give my big piece of chicken to Benny because his son is still alive.
For now. My wife's got 30 days to make that permanent or not.
For my main man, Benny, is Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. We are out.